Hi, welcome to the first deep dive into the power of no.
So let's go.
Today we're going to be talking about FOMO. Now, this is the fear of missing out. FOMO gets a really bad rap, but here's the really interesting thing about it. It's not intrinsically bad. Let me explain what I mean. So, FOMO really is just a drive that gets you up and at it to prevent you from missing out on the things that you want. So if a person had no FOMO at all about anything, they'd probably struggle to achieve much, right? Because they would be relatively indifferent to the outcomes of their day-to-day. Let me elaborate on what I mean. FOMO only really becomes problematic when it fails to serve its function, which is one, to help us discern between the things that we really want and from the things that we are therefore happy to forego in order to prioritize them. In short, when it's working as it should, it is a compromise tool that urges us to say yes to our priorities and to say no to the distractions. So, healthy FOMO is really just an individualized signaling system that tells us about our values. The problem happens when it becomes generalized and it starts to scream important and urgent about everything. And so it stops telling us anything useful anymore. At this point, it stops being that guiding beacon. Oh no! And just becomes this incessant torment that just always makes you feel like you're falling behind and will drive you into chronic burnout. So let's take an example. On a busy week, healthy FOMO might guide you away and to say no to 2 social events that you're kind of about, and make sure that you meet a work deadline. You might work half an hour late each day because then that still allows you to give quality time to your family and ensures that you're able to make it to your best friend's party on the weekend. Sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah, not bad.
Generalized chronic FOMO would work a little bit differently. It would tell you that you must go to every single one of those parties. You must stay there as long as possible. Consequently, you'll end up having to work super late on the other days, only to then hand in work that's a bit, Consequently, you'll be frustrated with yourself. You'll take it out on your partner because you're exhausted and you don't have time for their needs really, but it'll feel like they're crap at the time because you're just too tired. And then after flogging yourself all week, you may wake up with a cold on Saturday. Sound familiar? That is an example of what generalized FOMO can do as it runs rampant through your life. So the irony of unhealthy FOMO is that while it stems from an unwillingness to compromise on anything, because we want it all, you actually end up paying the ultimate price. Because what ends up happening is that through this unwillingness to miss out on absolutely anything, we end up spreading ourselves so thin that then the compromise by default ends up being that we give only a very small amount of ourselves to each thing because how else are you going to do it? It's physically impossible to avoid that. And so consequently, you end up getting a smaller return on each of those events, interactions, whatever it may be. So the result really then ends up being a series of rushed back-to-back shallow interactions that lack depth and meaning, and you get to be super exhausted for your efforts. So the solution is actually to know your values.
This is the way.
Now, I appreciate that that is, a very short sentence. It's very hefty and carries a lot of weight to it, and is definitely not something that can be fully addressed in one sitting. Values are actually a very large part of the work that I do with my clients because values are your guiding star in life. And when you allow yourself to be led by them, you usually end up leading a life that at its end will have a deep sense of satisfaction to it. And a failure to be connected with your values can make you feel very lost. So today, I wanted to leave you with just one very important thought about values. Values are not just a collection of fancy and esoteric words like honesty and integrity. Anyone can string together a bunch of fluffy words to present that make them sound cool, but if you don't back them up with action, they don't really mean much. So the bottom line is that your values are what you spend your time doing. End of story. So when we start to think about values in this way, we can start to face a few uncomfortable things, such as places where we might be living our lives according to other people's values instead of our own.
I just want to make people silky smooth.
Or things where we might think that we value something, but we only actually really value the idea of it.
Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?
These can be pretty rude awakenings, but to be honest, we all need them. So in reality, questioning what our values really are is a very empowering thing because it allows us to break free from this to and fro of unbridled FOMO and to reprioritize our lives in accordance to our true values. This will empower us to give our energy to the things that we want the most and to get satisfaction from the choices that we do make. So, FOMO, not necessarily problematic. FOMO without a compass.
No es bueno.
I hope that you found that slightly different take on FOMO to be interesting and maybe helpful. Next time, I'm going to start exploring a little bit more about values and self-trust and how those two play in together. Until next time, peace out. Waiting for a traversing puppy. Tippy tappy, fuck the lot of you. Hi, welcome to the first deep dive into the power of no, you distracted me, my Jane. Oh, I really have something in my eye. Traversing puppy. We're not gonna get this done. All right, let's do this. Hi. I overdid it, and then I could hear my brain. Yep. I just need to get this out of me. Okay. I'm sorry. Don't worry, this is gonna be fine.
It was in fact not fine.
So to elaborate, FOMO. I had it in my head and then it just went whee! This will then empower us to forget what I was gonna say because me, right?